Hey guys, today we are going to talk about the gray market in general. So, not to pick on Roman Sharf because he is not the only watch dealer who has let go employees recently or vendors, I don't know what they are. Obviously, you got the big one, Anthony. Anthony essentially let everyone go from Liz, Darby, Z to Luis. Everyone's gone. There's no one left. So that one has gone down to zero. Grand Caliber has let go Luis, who was in a ton of videos before this new guy, and let go Ja, who was one of the oldest employees of Grand Caliber. Only Vic and Alfred are older. And honestly, I probably would imagine that they're probably worried for their jobs. I'm going to talk about, and then and Roman Sharf, these three, I don't really know who they are. But they're bickering in the comments, right? And again, these are actual current employees throwing shade at former employees. This is not the culture that you really want to be promoting, if at all. I mean, it's not a good environment, in my opinion, when people are being laid off at all. And then it's definitely not a good environment when people are being laid off before the holidays. Now, you can say laid off, they quit on their own. There's many different ways to say it, but essentially they're being laid off during the holidays. Now, and I think Wolverine has had employees leave. They always like, oh, we left, right, on our own accord. But how realistic is that? Unknown. But it looks like a lot of these Watts dealers are cutting bait from their their employee base, and it looks like it's going into a winter time. So the gray market, like I mentioned, during the good times where Anthony was spending that much money, when Roman was doing really well, they can even do reality TV shows about hiring people, get us so many candidates and so on. Now this is a very precarious job, because if your sales numbers are not as good, you will be let go. And it doesn't really matter what else you add. It's all about money, baby, right? I will say that in terms of where the gray market is, the watch market is down about 20% year over year, and there might not be as much volume. And in a game that is about volume, then there might not be that much interest. At least for sports card, Magic card, Pokemon cards, the holiday season is often very difficult because people are trying to travel or try to take vacations, and that type of stuff costs money. I imagine it is the same with Rolexes, where people are trying to sell, and there's just not that many buyers interested at this moment in time because, again, they're saving money for holidays, vacation, and travel. I would also mention that not only are salespeople being let go, and again, in a very, very public way, right? You know, in a honestly very public way, um, from Luxury Bazaar, but so everything was done publicly. In other gray market watch dealers, you probably don't know, but they are still letting go people. It's just that they weren't interviewed publicly and they weren't let go publicly, and they may not have their own YouTube channels. Therefore, you don't really hear very much about them. Remember, this is just what we know about YouTubers, right? And I would imagine it's really hard to let a Luis go, because you have over at Grand Caliber, Marco and Luis, they made a lot of videos together. Luis is always really nicely dressed. And I imagine that that was a tough decision for them to make, as well as Ja, who was they're in all these videos, and that's a little weird, right? So if you're like a current employee or maybe eventually a new employee, and you're watching these videos, and you're just like, where is everybody? And it's like, no, they're no longer working here. What confidence do you have that you will survive that much longer? It's a weird thing because they're recording these employees. I always try not to record my employees. Most employees never want to be on video, and obviously because the channel is a little bit negative in tone. But overall, you gotta respect it, man. You gotta respect it. And I would say that in terms of being public, maybe it's good for their careers, maybe it's not good for their careers. I don't know. We really haven't seen the social media ramifications For Anthony, for instance, I could definitely tell anyone who's been an employee of Anthony recently, Luis, Z, even Alan, George, Brian. I mean, there's a lot of questions for these guys as to what actually went on, and that might actually hurt them when they try to go look for a job. That's my opinion. Again, you guys leave it in the comments below if you guys have a different opinion. I think that long term, people are going to look at these videos and dissect them. And I know Anthony's videos are no longer here, but overall, it is a scenario where your whole life, part of your life, your work, your ethics were all shown on to thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people, and you're firing or layoffing or you just quit, that's also being shown to a lot of people in a very public way. So it's kind of a new thing, right? It's new. Back in the olden days, you wouldn't really have such a public firing or layoff or whatever they want to call it, right? And what is the situation, right? Where in everything, when your whole life or part of your life, your work life is on social media, and everyone knows you're gone, or they no longer see you in the videos and they're wondering where you went, and then they had to make a public announcement, we let these people go, and so on. It can be really tough for the current employees to really remain motivated, because they're probably wondering, like, am I next? You know, what's the health of the company like? Many of these companies, Roman will be okay, but I look at Grand Caliber and I think, oh, you know, if they get hit by an IRS audit, that'll just be more legal fees, that'll just be more expenses, CPA fees, and so on. And then I look at Wolverine, right? It seems like they're doing good, but they had to let go some people, or they left. You know, again, they always say, oh, they left. Is that true? Is that not true? But the watch market itself is down. And in really happy times, you can hire people. You can make reality TV shows about hiring people in the watch business, the hustle culture. But when people don't want the object you're selling, or want it as much as they wanted it 2 years ago, then you see the real watch market, right? Then you see the actual tough scenarios that are played out, if you will. And I would say that it's not fun for anyone. It's not fun for their colleagues. It's not fun for their coworkers. But it does seem like the watch market is correcting. The watch prices are correcting. It does seem that the salespeople are no longer needed as much, or as many of them. It does seem like sales are down. And if sales are down and the market is down, then that's when people get laid off. Good people get laid off. And I think that will continue for at least another year. Everyone's saying that there will be a rebound. They may not be. I'm in other markets that have lost a lot of money. Magic cards have lost 60, 70, 80% of their value. Pokemon cards have lost probably 50%. Sports cards have lost sometimes 90% of their value. Yeah, there's not many people hiring for this particular skill set in those industries, because there's just too many people and there's not enough jobs, honestly. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Bye, guys.